Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, Mopars.com. Thursday night, it is freaking cold out here. I did a test before I hit record. I recorded a quick clip. I've got a heater that I acquired last Christmas. Blowing on me, trying to not freeze. And I didn't hear it in the background, so if it's there, I apologize. I will adjust in the future, but for now, I'm not adjusting because I didn't hear anything, and it's cold. So, what we've got going in this one, kind of exciting. I just tried to scan to see if there's any information on this online, and outside of some official Mac videos and some other official Mac videos that had Chip Foose, there's apparently nothing with this. And this is a very large item. I can't fit it in the frame in any way, shape, or form. And it is the Pro Stick, the big Pro Stick. More on that shortly. First thing first, I never do this at the start of a video. I always plug this stuff at the very end. For faithful viewers, you know that. But I've got a bit of a bottleneck here. I promised you Matco at 5K, Mac at 7,500 subscribers, and Snap-on at 10,000. And ever since last summer, I've been purchasing the Snap-on stuff, right? And I sort of built up a set of videos ready to go. And what I did that was, I guess, foolish on my part, as you know, I compare things. Like, we bring things in, they're brand new, we check them out, go over the specs, and then what's comparable that we can showcase against it, right? So it's not necessarily the Snap-on stuff. I'm fine holding those videos back, but I come in and I acquired something else from some other haul of some sort, and I compared it to the Snap-on item that's similar. And thereby, if I showcase that video, we'll just say Trainwreck Tool Haul 6, and it has items from Snap-on Tool Haul 2 and 7, it spoils that, right? So I kind of view this as like the veteran, long-term, sustained viewer, and I don't want to ruin that stuff. This most recent video, I think it was a DRPD Koken deal. I'm not going to say what it was, but something from Snap-on slid in there. And I was like, I can't continue to hold this back because there's all this cool stuff I want to show people. And it's sort of held up by a couple of like screw-ups on my end. So if you enjoy the channel and you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do that. If you have friends that you think would like the channel, just anything. This is like the slowest growing channel. You got to realize I've had this channel and actively, regularly used it since 2011. All right, it's not like I kind of think I could start a new channel and probably surpass where we're at now relatively quickly. YouTube does not take care of veteran channels. It's not like you have some seniority or preferred status. It's kind of the backwards of that. They just, ugh, you know, get out of here, you know, old veterans. We've got fresh new stuff. But yeah, the Snap-on stuff's pretty cool at 10K. As you can see, I'm a man of my word with Mac and Matco. And like I said, I just made the mistake of plugging the Snap-on stuff in with later video. I mean, you got to realize this is like summer of 23, you know, when I started in on the Snap-on stuff. But anyway, this is about Mac and this is about the Pro Stick. However, I felt like it would be a lame video if I just showcased this. And, I don't mean the Pro Stick, I mean this. And you think, no, big wrenches are great. I've kind of already shown you these, granted in green. And what the deal is, these are Mac Precision Torque. When I poll you, and I said, what should I get for Mac? It's something great, something you think I'll like, something comically bad, whatever. Throw it at me, we'll see what happens. Overwhelming number one suggestion for Mac was the Precision Torque wrenches. I still say that's a strange name because it conjures up images of a torque wrench, you know, like precise precision. But it is what it is. These are kind of funky when you're new to them. And I will say now, that set at work has been there quite some time. I've kind of forced myself to use it over the rights. Kind of gotten to where I like it, but in certain situations, it sort of has to be something where I can take advantage of this offset on the boxed end. And sometimes that's annoying, and sometimes it's like, oh, hey, you know, that's pretty cool. So, why are these here? If you recall from our last time, I went ahead on the Chargerversary, I brought in the small clasp set of these. I think 1/4 to 15/16, which is phenomenally great size range. This is the big add-on. Totally being straight up honest with you, just like at work, I need this, number 3, the middle guy, 1.1/8. Why? 3/4 hardware. That's kind of the same thing here. I know I'm going to get some of you like, but K&N filter nuts. Yeah, I know. We have the 1-inch now. We can totally use it for that. And I'm sure every once in a while I'd need the other sizes. But for me, inch, 1.1/16, 1.1/8, 1 3/16, and 1.25, which does see some use with like heavy hardware, you know. I've had to pick this up. Number 1, I got the same great deal from the driver. Also, it's either Flyer 13 or one of the Black Friday ads. They've got this in orange and green, this exact same set for the $199. I think I either paid that or a little less than that. But the story is on the colors and even the precision torque. They might be going away. It's all kind of up in the air. It would have killed me if I wound up loving the wrenches, which, like I said, they are growing on me. This is coming from work where I get to do a lot more work because I'm there all the time. And I got the full complement there. And I thought, man, I better just do it while they're available. And it's honestly the price of $199. I might have got these a little cheaper. That's a pretty solid buy considering the size of the wrenches. And I don't just mean inch to 1.25 inches. But they're also sort of longer than stock, right? So that's a win across the board. And again, I didn't want to miss them, if you will. The other quick item, and I think you will agree with me, if I would have made a video that had these, which you've technically seen me do, and this item, you'd have been like, oh, you know, that's kind of a lame video. You know, it would have had to be a Wednesday release type of thing. But right here, $19.99. This was on clearance and maybe Flyer 12 or something. It took forever for this thing to come in. Max stuff, it's either like I have it like in less than a week from the guy, or we're looking at 3 to 5 to 6 weeks. Shirts, merchandise seems to always, for whatever crazy reason, be on the longer end of that. So it is what it is. I can tell you right now, if this was on a truck, my guy does not really carry merch, hats, shirts. Like, it's, you know, available if you want to tell him, hey, get me this coming, or I'd like to order that. But he doesn't really like stock it, right? I've seen plenty of videos, you know, depending on where it is and who the driver is and whatnot. Probably their route, the customers on it might dictate it. But I'm sure some people buy that stuff up, can't get enough of it, always looking for a new hat, shirt, you know, whatever, a vest, cold, spilled crud, and gotta look presentable later. Dentist appointment, I don't know. But for whatever it is, my guy, he doesn't have it, right? So in that catalog or flyer, this was considerably darker. If this would have been what I saw, I don't know that I would have bought it. But the good news is they would usually want $35 for this, which I wouldn't touch. But the clearance price of $19.99, I was like, oh, that's not bad. I'm going to try it out. So way lighter than it looks. You can pull this again. I think it was Flyer 11 or 12. It's like shades and shades lighter here. It's not like even the next range over. It's like I thought it was this and it's that type of a thing. Not terrible looking. But what it is, it's kind of like a cross between a bomber and a trapper hat. And I kind of thought it was just a bomber also, but I wish I would have had this last week. So it's sort of a flannel. It's kind of, I guess, wool. It's made in China, sadly. Maybe they did a good job here. We won't pass judgment until we've worn it. But I can never have too many hats, especially weird stuff like this that I don't have much of. And last Monday and Tuesday, I was outside moving everything. Pallets one day, and then, oh man, tons and tons and tons of metal. The next day, we had some seal coating going on, and so I'm out there like, one of the days, it was like a 3-hour job, just moving it away. And it was with like a 40-mile-an-hour south wind. Maybe it was just 30, could be exaggerating. And you think, oh, that's not bad. No, it was like 30 degrees, and that south wind is not warm in the morning. No daytime heating. It was absolutely miserable. And I'd had this thing on order, and I thought, if I just had that freaking hat. So Here it is now, and I'm going to take this thing to work. That's one of the reasons for doing this video. But do I have something that goes with this that was also cheap? Possibly. Stay tuned for that. But if you wear that, or you got that same hat, you might have gotten it last year. I kind of think it might have been out then. That's why it's clearance now. Let me know how you like it. However, star of the show here is the Mac Pro Stick. And I will tell you, I nearly purchased one of these. They essentially have 3. And I nearly purchased one in Flyer 11's offerings, I think. The 3 that they've got, they're all going to be part number ASL, and then you've got a 200 lumen, a 500 lumen, and a 750 lumen, this being the 750 or the big dog. Part number ASL750M. Alright, so if you want 500 lumen, ASL 500M, and what's a small? You guessed it, ASL 200M. Price tiering, let's talk about that. The 200 lumen is going to be $84.99. The 500 lumen is going to be $120, and the 750 that you see here would retail for $159. So you're thinking like, well, hey, you said you nearly bought 500 on previous Flyer. Why didn't you? Well, the price wasn't really terrible. It went from $119 down to $89, so $120 to $90. It's basically $30 off. It was the size. I don't know if my guy showed me like the 200 or something, but this thing was so freaking small. I kind of passed on it. He's a relatively straight shooter. Like, he point blank told me, don't drop this. It'll break right here, and they don't warrant that. So I appreciate that. But I think this is a pretty solid offering, especially considering the $160 that this would retail for. We got it for $99.99 via Flyer 13, so that's basically $60 off. And I think it's a decent price for tool truck pricing now. If you go back in time, you're like, wait, you and lights, what do I remember? Yeah, I'm that guy, and by I'm that guy, I don't mean it's like screwdrivers or ratchets or wrenches where I'm like, hey, I'm going to try that out, and, you know, we can wait around, get a good deal, compare and contrast. I kind of think they all suck, and I've never really been proven wrong, especially not long term. I can get something new, and I'm like, whoa, this thing's awesome, and then, you know, like 2 weeks later or something, it's either dull, dim, broken, halfway broken, that happens a lot, or it's one of these deals where like I have it and the first 2-3 times you use it and charge it, it's like ding 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 ding, back in action, and then it gets to a point where it just like, when will it ever be charged? I don't know. And it gets really annoying, and a lot of times I just stack lights. My go-to now is honestly just like the cheap little Braun puck lights. So I'm not the flashlight man. I don't know that I could ever be the flashlight man. Growing up, I had a mag light, like the kinds you could crack a skull with, police carried. Took like 4D batteries or something. You know, you gotta have that weight just right to crack the skull, you know. You don't want like AAA's in there, it's not gonna do the job. So, but past that, like every flashlight I've ever had has just kind of been like, eh, that's okay. And I think the $20 ones that I get on sale for $10 have impressed me just as much as like the $75 ones other people have. And I could totally be missing that boat. Maybe I am. I had some really good suggestions from some of you like Olight people, I think was the one. There's a video I did a while back when I got some like name brands really cheap. And the one that kind of looked the worst, it actually looked like it had been used and the batteries blew up, and they actually credited me for it and said don't even send it back. That's actually turned out to be like my favorite flashlight, and I'm not going to tell you what that is because I don't think I've released that video, but be looking for it because that's actually, it's been pretty awesome. And again, I got it. It was one of the like $80-$90 flashlights, and I got it for like $8. And I'm not exaggerating that. It was somewhere like sub 20, and I honestly think it was like $8.99. So yeah, and it looked terrible. It looked like it had been sitting in a warehouse used, and it literally had like battery acid on it. And it turned out to be free, so we got that going. So anyway, back to our Pro Stick. What do I have here? High hopes. Why? I'm an optimist, right? And, this is not our first foray into max lighting. My first foray was this little guy. We picked it up when it was like brand new. It's just kind of like a pocket pin light type of a deal. Not my ideal shade of orange. We've covered that. But this is actually the second light just like it. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's been pretty good. This one has. Okay. The thing I like the best about this one is this little deal here. The pocket clip is actually magnetic, so if the camera lens was like your toolbox, it sticks, dunk, and you can articulate it that way, right? So it's actually pretty handy. I do wish it was slightly slimmer, sort of more compact, concealed carry in my pocket. This one's just, it's not obnoxiously bulky, but I feel like a slightly slimmer profile would have been ideal for this. I'm also kind of leery of breaking that clip off, but you're thinking like, whoa, this is light too. Well, you know, you liked it so well you bought one for the house and the others at work. No, right here is a charge icon. You can't see it. I don't think it'll come on either, but right there would be like your green, red flashing, you know, green when it's fully charged. I went to charge this after using it, and it just stayed on, the charge icon. Like, you have it disconnected, you've got your little charge port right here. I kind of conceal it because it looks better, but I had it connected. I was using their charger, disconnected it when it was fully charged. This stayed on. It was my first experience with it, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's just something I didn't notice, or it didn't have that going for it the first time because it wasn't fully charged. It would never go out, and the problem is, like, this thing would basically be dead in 2 days. I'd come out to the shop and I'd turn it on and it would be like red, 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 and, you know, no light output. So texted my dealer. He says, you know, drop by a new one. Basically swapped it out, no questions asked for me. He sent that one back as defective. So this one is not defective. It's been great. Part of the reason for buying this. If I hate the thing, I think actually we have a window here, and that's one of the reasons I'm rushing to do this in the cold shop. Picked this up off the truck yesterday, and he has not billed me for it yet. He said, try it, we'll settle up next week. So I've got like a week window here where I can play around with this thing, see if I like it or not. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Now, stats on this guy: it is a 3.7 volt, 5200 milliamp hour battery. The top light, again, kind of think right here, is going to be 60 lumen, not setting the world on fire, but it's better than nothing. And then your main beam here would be 350 lumen on low, and the high, actually, you know what? I'm reading you what I wrote down from their website, which said 350 and 700. This is a 750. Let's spin this around, and it's gonna say, oh, interesting. So there's obviously been some revision to this versus what the website has. Not sure how I feel about that, but the website, top light was 60, the low beam was 350, ran for 5.5 hours, and the high beam was 700, and it ran for 3 hours. This, if I can fit this in for you, I know it's crooked, but we're just gonna roll with it because you can see it. So front Cobb LED, 2 power, 750, 250. So we got a 50 lumen bump on high and a 50 lumen drop on low. Why they would make that revision, I couldn't tell you. So you're basically running high and then a third of high. So you do you. Top LED is still 60 lumen, still the same battery specs. 360 degree rotating hanging hook and magnet on the bottom of the light for hands-free use. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that, but I think I know why they did it. We'll cover that here in a second. The light wand rotates 200 degrees. We'll have a graphic in a second. And then check this out. This is going to sound stupid here, but be really cool in person. Protective removable sleeve with diffuser lens and magnet for picking up small items. And then, kind of like I mentioned here, the ding 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 got stuck and drains the battery charge indicator. We've got a 3-color LED here to indicate the battery's capacity. So coming around to the sidebar, this will go 200 degrees. So Think of the rising and setting sun, right? 180 degree. Well, stick on an extra 10 and tack on an extra 10 there. Nautical time or something, right? This is your top beam, and note the magnetic icon. Right here on the base, the hook folds out again. I'm somebody that would love, I have no issues with the magnetic base, but I prefer the hook to be up here. However, I don't think with this design they could do that. More on that shortly if you haven't figured it out already. And then right here, I guess that's probably the power switch. There it is in hand. And then right here, looks like we're going to have the LED indicator for green, yellow, and red. 25% and under, 75% and up. You're probably going to spend most of your time in the yellow and in the red. So this right here, let's just go ahead and showcase it. Thinking like, cool, whoa, hey, what? Why did they do this? A magnifier? No, this is that diffuser sleeve. And you're thinking like, oh, that's why you couldn't have a hook on it. Yeah. So we're gonna check it out. I don't know what the backside is like. He's got one of these on the truck and he kind of like demoed it for me, but I didn't get to really like examine the back of it. That said, it does look like it comes with the wall pack and the cable. It's showing a 2.5 hour runtime and a 7-hour runtime, which is a significant bump. So I don't know if it's the battery they changed, something. We went up 50 lumens and we went, actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading that wrong. We went down. Yeah, 2.5. So the max power on this one, the 750, is 2.5 hours. The website specs, when it was 700, are saying 3 hours. And then on low, on the website, you were 350 lumen for 5.5. This has dropped down to a lot lower, right? The 250, but we got an extra hour and a half out of it. So I don't know, you tell me. The craziest thing to me about this, the Pro Stick, those videos I told you that come up when you search Mac Pro Stick, they were from 8 years ago. All right, they look exactly the same. I'm sure there's been revisions. For all I know, this could have incorrect information, or perhaps more likely with Mac, the website's information is incorrect. It could have been entered incorrectly. There could be tons of versions of this from the manufacturer, and they just like crossed it up when they copied and pasted. I don't know. Maybe they really did have a 700 and then they switched to the 750 to try to sell more. Because what's the guy going to do when he has all the lights? He's going to be like, huh, I need bigger and better. And so what's bigger and better to people with that mindset? A higher lumen, right? Runtime, screw that. You know, second or third settings, power use there, long runtime. No, you just care about, like, I want 800 lumen. Give me the 1,000 lumen, right? That's sort of the mindset of the people that will continue to buy. People like myself, or you, if you've never had a Mac light or you're looking for one, we kind of come in with a different mindset, right? This is your first jump. You're going to see what you think of it. So, right here, let's see what we got. I'm pretty excited. Only with the important stuff there. There is an instruction sheet here, and I can barely reach it. We almost needed pliers for this thing. So what I'm thinking, for those of you that know me, what will this say, the ASL750M? Is it going to coincide with the information on the box, or will it side with the website, or could it tell us something completely different, perhaps a hybrid of both? So, plug in a 120, some battery indicator seems to match. Let's see. Alright. Protective sleeve, switch button, battery. Alright, this is saying 750 and 250 and 60. So there we go. Working time, your front on high is 2.5 hours and the front on low is 7 hours. So yeah, this matches with the box, so that is cool. Spare parts. It looks like we can get the 5-volt 2-amp adapter with cable, and we can also get the diffuser sleeve. So you're going to need to give these part numbers to your dealer. and let them work their magic of trying to make things not take an eternity to come in, because it's always faster if you just buy a new light. Right? So, what we're going to do is get this thing out of the bag, drop the USB cable, and this is, I'm not going to lie, it's a nice addition for me. You might be different. This right here, if you're thinking like, was that box just oversized? Well, this fits a little nicer in there. This is a big light. Like, this is a long light. That really appealed to me, because what I find with what I've had in the past, I always want like more light, like not brighter necessarily, but like sort of a wider range. There's not many ways to do that outside of having something round, you know, that diffuses the light out, or something simply longer that projects more of a beam, right? If I had a light above this bench and it was 2 foot, I would need to have it centered right over this work mat. If I then want to be over here, you know, on this side of the workbench, ironically, I built this table for a welding table and it does not do that anymore, but if I wanted it over there, I've got a little bit of light, but I would need to like swing the light, or do what? Have a longer light. Now, if I've got a 4 foot light and I've got my screwdriver assembly area over here lit up and I've got this mat lit up, and I'm like, man, you know, I'm working on the vise over here, building PTFE lines. I wish I had some light. Guess what I need? I need a 6 foot light. So that's sort of where this comes in. I'm going to bring some stuff out here. I'll see it for the first time too. And just going by the truck experience, I think I'm going to like it. So right here, I got to say, this feels really good in hand. The dealer, I remember one of the first times I was on the truck asking him about lights, he was playing with this thing. So I think it's something he must like too. But this fits my hand quite well, I have to say, gloved and non-gloved. This is the power button. That's actually smartly placed. You'll note these ribs here in the plastic. That does 2 things. Number one, it guides my thumb to the power button, which is great. The other thing it does is create, I don't want to say sharp, but I'll say annoying ridges here. Sliding my hand around here is excellent. Hitting here, it's kind of like, yeah. You know, but at the same time, that helps me locate this. If I'm like last night, I was on a creeper and I've got a giant light stick ahead of me, and I'm trying to swing and not hit my head on a gas tank or a rear end, and this would be nice because I had a nightmare and I then have the lights fall down and nearly hit you in the face, and that's never pleasant. The other thing I can tell you is I feel that part line. It's not the most confidence inspiring thing. It's sort of, when I have half A and half B and I put them together with screw 1 and screw 2, I want this to be uniform. I don't want it to be my fingernail goes here and stops every time, and then my fingernail comes from this side and slides over and down every time. I want it to mate up perfect, right? And that's not happening. This part line, ironically, in between these ribs, that's noticeable here, but tight here. This would be okay. However, up here, it's not an even surface. It's like this part of the mold. I assume there would be injection molding it. I don't know. But it's almost like this one was set up, and then this one's not quite mirrored. You know, somebody sanded this mold a little too much, and I don't know. But it's by no means egregious, and it's going to make you like, oh, hey, that's not worth the money. It's just something. I can't sit here and praise this thing. I have to tell you. First impression, honest feedback, it's noticeable. Part lines are a big deal to me. If they're visible, you know, I can work with the visibility if you don't really feel it. But when you feel it, and they're visible, like it looks like I've dropped this and it cracked, right? We know it's 2 cases going together, but it just kind of has that look. Now, the feel here, it's nothing terrible, but it's definitely noticeable. So right there, you got your Mac Tools logo. Something Mac really needs to work on is the colors. When Mr. 200 or 250 and 500 and 750 has acquired all 3 Pro Sticks, what is he going to do? Buy another Pro Stick? Possibly, if he really likes it. But I guarantee you, if you make even just this part green or orange or high vis or gasp blue, maybe purple, you know, since we're talking Mac, that's when you sell another light. You've got to think of this stuff because you've got to move your product. When you've got a limited reach, a limited market, you've got to either have repeat sales or pull someone else in. The green tool guy, maybe he's buying from Matco or Snap-on and he would love the Pro Stick, but it's literally this. Who knows? Carrying on though, right down here, if we trace this red, it's kind of a nice touch there. The red's not bad by any means, you know, it's just a personal preference thing. I'm sure the OEM here would probably put, boom, blue and LSM and silver for me. All right, and maybe I could get an 800 lumen with a lower run time. You know, that's sort of how this stuff works, right? You just sort of have to pick your poison. You want the higher lumen, you want the lower lumen with the longer run time. How do you want to mix them? What length, what color, all sorts of options you can get into. But coming here to the backside again, our power button, right here is your charging port. We do have a dust cap. Uh-oh. I thought this was USB-C. I assumed it was USB-C. It looks like it's going to be a barrel plug. That's actually not terrible, but it does make this important. All right, don't lose that. You'll want to have it. Right here on the bottom, I'm going to have to tilt this guy so we can get a better look at this. This is our magnet. This is our hook. Is the hook magnetic or plastic? I am not a huge fan of this hook. It swivels 360. Not terrible, it should do the job, but again, I'm somebody that would like to see a hook at the top and a magnet at the bottom. So right here, I could stick this on a frame rail, I could stick it on a floor pan, I could stick it on a lift, I could stick it wherever. I don't have a way of hanging it, right? So that's kind of an issue, but it does come with some unique benefits. Right here, we're roughly at the horizon mark, right? 90 degrees perpendicular, so what I'm gonna do, I guess that's max down, so this would be 90. I guess you could pass it for that, or 100 degrees if you will. And then that would be 90-ish. There's a couple of pre-selected detents here. So if we come at the middle, we're folding down onto the Mac logo. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's your full down, kind of max 100 degree. Again, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then coming back opposite the Mac logo, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why are there more? 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hate that. I hate it when things are not symmetrical. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it symmetrical? Is 7 the midpoint? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think this one has like an extra 1 or 2 down. I don't know. It's not the smoothest thing, but I mean, that's kind of what you want, is the notchiness so it holds that angle. But it really bothers me. It's like the same with a flex head ratchet. If I've got 3 positions down and then I've got 17 to the back, it's like, why could we not do a 9-9 split with, you know, 1 in the middle? Just pet peeves, right? Personal preference, whatever you want to call it. This is interesting. This is not the light itself. You're thinking like, what? This is the diffuser, okay? This is the light by itself, and there's the top light. Pro Stick branding is pretty cool looking. Not that that matters, but it is. There's something I can throw down. Hello, hex key. This is something I don't know. I think the magnets are on the cover. I don't think they're here. And let's do the quick second half of this test. Yeah. So, you're thinking like, magnets? Why would you need magnets on the end of that thing? What do you do with your light? Okay. Obviously, it illuminates a work area. You know, if you're changing like a water pump or something, you stick it, angle it, bend it just right. You got good light broadcast where you're going. That's situation 1. What's situation 2? Why would you grab a light? You just dropped something and you lost it. Okay, so now put this cover back on where it belongs, which is on the light. And think along with me now, under that same guise, right? Here we are, we're up top, we got our fancy little dress-up bolts. Ding! This fell. Didn't go to the concrete, that would have been too easy. It's on top of the K-member. So we turn the light on, and what do? We go fishing. This top light here, just like in this case, you know, I illuminate it, I'm like, oh, there it is. I'd have to come in with pliers. What do I do here? I'm like, yeah, you see it, Marty? There's that hex key. What do we do in this case? Hey, Marty, you see it? There it is. You get it. So, I don't know if that's a common feature on high-end lights, because again, I'm a Harbor Freight guy with lights. But it's kind of cool. It's unique, and it sets this apart, which is desirable to me. It's kind of a selling point. Again, my dealer, very, very proud of that feature. He's got stuff he just throws down. He's like, watch this. So yeah, if you're that guy and you're like, whoa, you know, that just sold me on this light. I want to say they've all got it. In terms of retrieval, this one is just, it's a big light, and I think it would excel in this range. So again, no other light I've ever had has that type of a feature. The other thing we got to talk about, you might notice like, hey, that doesn't look as bright as it did. Well, here's why. You're thinking like, well, yeah, I know, idiot, you just took this cover off. Well, look at this again. Now I flip it over and you're like, hey, that looks clear. This looks better. Put that back on the light. Okay, I can do that. And you're thinking like, hey, you know, look at this. Sort of black, silver, LED. You can see LED, you can see silver, you can see black. Now if I take this and I rotate it, flip it to the other side, you don't see that as well, do you? Here's why. All right, this side is clear, translucent, whatever you want to call it. This side, it's your bathroom window, right? You got to stop the peeping toms. It's your toolbox window, you know. You got to hide your goods. It's frosted. It's going to diffuse the light. Kind of a cool touch. Again, obviously the sleeve, some of you might be interested just because of the magnets and the twofold benefit of protecting the light, perhaps from if we dropped this and we cracked it, or you know, we fogged it over with some chemical or something. It's way better for me to fog this over with brake cleaner, have it melt down a plastic lens, than melt this down, especially if this can be replaced, which we confirmed in the manual it can. The question I have that smart people are also asking, what does this cost? My hopes is this thing would be like $10 max, okay? Because I would buy this to cover that if I've ruined this. But if this is like $40, you're just going to go buy another light, you know, or you're going to try to trade it in, work a deal, something, or you're going to be ticked off and say, well, Mac lights suck. I'm going to go get insert brand X here. Hopefully this is reasonable. I will attempt to remember. That is a promise to attempt. Okay. Next Mac video we do, if I've gotten to talk to my guy, I might text him. It's pretty late now, so I can't, but I'll say, hey, what does that thing cost? And again, hopefully it's reasonably priced. It's kind of cool because you have this and the two options there. So if you want to be, you know, really badass here and run it without the diffuser, you can do that. Or if you melt this down to the point that it's like just absolutely decrepit and non-functional and doesn't fit, all right, plastic does funny things, you can still use your light as is, get one coming on order, and regain your magnetic pickup abilities and your two sides for the diffuser. So does she have a charge? I hope she does, because if she doesn't, I'm gonna have to charge it and come back. I kind of, part of me cringes doing this because I want to fully charge before I turn on. I'm bad about that. It's probably a good practice, but we're just gonna see what it does. There's the top light. So again, here we are. Let's get a different item. This is stainless. I don't know if it's gonna pick it up. 3/8 16-2. That's good stainless. Okay. Proto. Here we go. Throw that down. Uh-oh. Oh, well, I'm an idiot. We don't have the magnet on. All right. Like I said, never had a light like this. We got to get used to it. All right. So obviously, you're not going to do the moon with this, right? You're not going to go retrieve the Titanic off the ocean floor, but it can get you started. Now, something smaller. Let's throw this down. it's good times. All systems go. So anything reasonable hardware-wise that you might drop down, I think we're going to be happy. Real quick, because it's here, this is the Mac pin light. 60 lumens. I want to say this one's brighter, right? Like I'm going to put them right in line with the camera. I don't know now. Let me get that totally out. Does this just do a wider area but a lower light? Or maybe this one's just more concentrated? Not totally sure. But this is what I want you to see. It's kind of the pro stick. Now if I hit the button, I'm assuming that'll go out and stay out because we've waited a while. Nope, switched it over. So there it is. I'm assuming this is low. I'm going to kind of have it off to the side so I don't blind you. There's high. That's pretty nice light. What I love about it is the length. I sort of alluded to this. That's very unique for me. Third button, we're out. All right. So 1, 2, this is low, and 3. Cool. So that was through the clear light. What I'm going to do now, I want you to see this, nothing nefarious. We're going to pull back to a random point. Right there looks fine. It's close to 50-50. I want to see if this side of the Omega M looks brighter than this side with this clear diffuser. Okay, well, it would help if we didn't have that there. So this is the low setting. I think it looks the same. Again, maybe if I was under it or looking at it personally, yeah, it looks the same, and we're blind. So I'm going to take it totally off. It's 100% off, and now we're going to slide it back on all the way and look for a change in lighting. In 3, 2, 1, slide. I'm going to say any difference at all with that is totally negligible. All right. What I'm going to do now is take the light away from you, and I'm going to put the frosted side over the light, and I'm going to shine it down. You can't tell any difference because this is our first time seeing it. I want to come here and pull back part way. I'm not going to set it over here so we hopefully don't blind you. Let's slide that back. I kind of think that does a nice job. Now if I press this button once more, we're on high now. So this is full, totally unfiltered light. We're going to come in with the clear. I don't think there's a change with that. We're going to now come in with the frosted. That's a noticeable drop. I hope you caught that. Kind of watch it from side to side. We're retracted all the way past the P and Pro Stick. We'll let the camera adjust. In fact, I'll try to do it from here so you can see the progression. By the time it's fully seated, it is considerably dimmer, and that is on the max power setting. What I'm going to do now, spin this, and I'm on the wrong side, so spin that. Where is that icon? I thought it was on the side. What am I missing? Huh. Did they take that away? Or is it like in that part line? What have I done? The box is down to the side. That's not even the instruction manual. Let's turn this thing off so I don't blind you or me. Alright. Where was the charge icon? I thought they showed it on the side profile. Battery indicator. So it is that port. You've got your mini DC, and then the battery indicator is above it. So it's where we thought it was. So right here, this kind of little divot hole. Thing is, I don't see jack. Let's power it up. Okay, there it is. So like I said, you're going to spend most of your time in the yellow. It must be right when you change a setting. That's understandable. I'm cool with that. So when I press this again, you're going to see it. and there's a couple seconds with it on and then it's out. That's totally acceptable to me. I have no issues with that. What I want to do now is some comparisons. Oddly, one of the best lights, especially when new, keep in mind, I'm not the light guy, is this. I mean, you can get these sometimes for like $9 to $10. Dadgum magnet. Dadgum magnets. Get out of here. Jeez. All right. Cool and not cool at the same time, right? All right, so there we are. End to end here, like, look at this. We've got a good, if I take this little MAC light, the orange one, it's a little bit shy of the cap. So there's this much more. I'm going to try to hover this back down for you. So you can't really see that they're flush, but take my word for it, they are, as best I can anyway. And I'll put this back just so you can see what I'm referencing. Basically, add my index finger. You get an idea. If you're familiar with the Braun, this is a bigger light. Let's come in now with the Icon. Now, this has been modified. I'm not going to tell you what I did. I'll see. Some of you might know. You might not. Kind of depends how in tune you are with things. The Icon is actually stubbier than the Braun. All right. Astro, this little guy, it's one of those things. Like, this was cool, super nice when I first got it, and then it just it dies fast and it takes forever to charge. This was actually my longest light. I've regressed, right? This was number 1, number 2, number 3. Granted, there's several of these, and 2 or 3 of those. One of them's at work, but anyway, you can see the Mac, at least with what I have, is significantly longer, especially in comparison to the Icon. The Braun, again, we've got a good chunk. The Astro, especially if I take that hook out of the scenario, it's a noticeable jump. It's also very thick and beefy here. So this is a slim light, right? You can kind of tell. Well, there's that. Nothing crazy. No light at the top. No adjustability aside from that rotary dial, which is functional. Icon there, I don't think that works anymore. You sort of have to baby it. Nothing special, no frosted lens. This Braun, we get all that articulation. It also turns the other way, depending on how loosey-goosey it is, which is actually pretty cool because then you can dial in where you want it to go. If you want the beam to be in line with the power button, you can do that. So you got to kind of watch it, but it's not bad. This one takes forever to charge, all right? No hanging hook. This does have the top light. So this one's totally backwards of the Mac. The Mac goes top, low, high. This goes high, low, top. Go figure. That's just how stuff goes. The Icon, which I've had a lot of you tell me yours melt down. This one has run a lot. It's run a lot in clean interior settings, but I haven't had it like heat up or do anything crazy. I think the puck lights is where people really had issues with the Icon. Again, mine, I haven't experienced that either. But this one I've actually been pretty happy with, minus the one thing which I've corrected on this. But it is limited. That's all she's going to do. I cannot go backwards there. However, I can go here, but where I don't have that extra 90 down this way, you can shut it. Okay? So, a little different than the others. And then we've got this big hoss of a light. Okay? I actually do like this. I wish this had a little bit. I'm a huge, huge fan of Mac handles on the pry bars, the screwdrivers. If this had any bit of that texture or feel, I think they could sell a ton of these things. But assuming they don't suck, right? I need to get some seat time, but just the feel of that on a light would be super cool. Not plush, lush leather, just a little bit of texture there, right? And this does have some texture. I think you can see that in the camera, but just that soft to the touch. Not gooey soft, but just kind of not plastic. That sort of fine line between there, you know? Something like the Nipro Squoval, their screwdriver, that would just be total top-tier eliteness for a light. Now, this one, again, we've got all this articulation. I do like that these are sort of like preset detents, right? That way it's more inclined to stay locked in place. However, you'll note I don't have side-to-side articulation here. So I'm holding it. I've either got to be up, I've got to be back. There's no light at the back, right? It's all frontal action. So if you're here and you go from like working down on something, needing it to face up, you're not going to do better than this. It is what it is. This one, though, adds a couple features I didn't have before. Number one, I think, what is the Lumen? Was the Icon 500? It's a 3.7. It's half the battery. That's something to note as well, where you're like, man, that one's way more compact. 3.7 volt. This is 2600 milliamp. That's 5200. What do 26 and 52 have in common? Aside from being divisible by 13, it's double. All right, so 2652. Put two of these together for the battery size, and you're up to this point. So if your complaint on this is the runtime, that's twice the battery capacity there, right? They don't have the lumens listed on this, and I don't remember because, again, I'm not a flashlight guy. But it is what it is. We're going to set that to the side. I'm betting the Braun doesn't either. Maybe it does. Nope. It's 3.722 milliamp. That's, again, less than half of this. And then the Astro 450 light XL battery. It's a little beefier of a handle. This has the feel of cheap plastic. I don't think it is, but it has that feel. Like if you were to grab all these lights, the Icon's kind of a premium feel. I actually like the feel of the Braun too. It's sort of, again, kind of that aluminum knurling type of a handle. This is just like the cheap plastic. This does feel slightly, and I do mean slightly, more premium than the Astro. Again, that's a very minor thing in my opinion. Also of note, while this does have the hanging hook, it doesn't fit a lot of the things I want to put it on, and when it does, it tends to fall off, which is a huge buzzkill. It would be nice if that hook had a little bit more hook, if you know what I mean. And then something that kind of sucked on this is this articulating base. You can see she doesn't want to articulate that great, especially when it's been locked down. I constantly was knocking this thing off. I genuinely got to a point, especially with the charge times on this Astro, I liked the Braun. I've been rolling with the Icon. Again, the puck lights, really cheap Braun ones, not the Icon. I run the Braun puck lights way more. They're cheaper. I have more of them. One dies. I've got 2 or 3 ready to go. But when I do want the stick light style, I've been going with the Icon. The Mac offers me, it's noticeably heavier, but again, twice the battery, if you will. But this is going to be super nice for me because the length, that's something I did not have. It's brighter, I believe, because again, I want to say the Icon, don't hold me to the Icon specs. I could be wrong, but it brings a lot to the table for what I want to do. What I'll do now is go kill the light, come back, and we'll see what we're looking like. As soon as I took off, I realized, 1, how cold my feet were, and then 2, I've got a really bad toe cramp as I went. So this is the little orange guy, if you were curious. And so what I want to do is turn it completely off, because this is one advantage of this noticeable button. It's easy to find that. You can see that Icon indicator is now out. I'm going to press this. This is low. This is high. We're now going to cycle once more. I should tell you the battery light's flashing. It is pitch black dark in this shop. Alright. There's the pickup light. 60 lumens. Again, kind of a limited cast area. I've got the light right even with the lens on the camera. That's why you see the puppet show. I'd say a little bit past the Omega M. I'm going to turn the Pro Stick. You can see a little bit of the cast light, right? I'm basically parallel with the work mat. Low beam. High beam. That is through our diffused side, alright? I'm taking the diffuser off. This is the stick by itself on high. This is low. This is high. This is more impressive in the dark. It always is. That's why I do this. So what I want to do, I'm going to slide this lens cover on. This is the clear side going over the light. I don't see much difference at all. Okay. This is now going to be our diffuser side. I hope this paints a good picture for you. So I'm going to set it down a little lower. That's 750 lumens through the diffuser. It's pretty legit. I'm going to now pull this off, again where you can see it. Not bad. So, let's see here. We'll do that same scenario. There it is. I found it. You know, it's down on the floor in a K-member or something. And again, I'm an idiot because we just took this off. So, in this case, picture this as a magnetic pickup. Okay? The light helps you. Now, doing it correctly, let's go full circle here. I'm going to power off. Now I'm going to turn it on. Where is it? There's a USB cable. Lancer emblem. Channel lock keychain. There's a flashlight we dropped. No. Oh, that's what we're looking for. Chwink. Good times, but it's really late and really cold. And I should probably go. So, once again, for me, not a light guy, this is cool for two main reasons. Number one, not gonna lie at all, it's the magnetic pickup. That is kind of cool. I think it's also going to be useful. Hopefully I don't have to use it often, but there's so many times like I've taken the lights and what do? You point it down and you try to like knock the bolt, right? Kind of fish it over somewhere where you can get to it. This has the magnet. It could be huge. Downside with a magnet, any magnet, whether it's on a light or a stick, not only will it stick to the bolt, it'll stick to anything ferrous. So your K-members there, boom, you stick to that too. So it's a fishing game. It's a nice weapon to have. Hopefully it's not like an inconvenience. I don't think it's strong enough that it would ever like catch an item and pull the cover off unless it's wedged. Again, that's something I'll just kind of have to play with. Some of you might have horror stories. Feel free to share them. The other thing for me, aside from I think being brighter than my other offerings, it is the length of this light. Like, this is a very, very long light, at least with what I've seen in stores on the truck. Again, no light guy. I don't have many lights. I legitimately prefer the Braun puck lights. I think they're fantastic for the price. They also seem to do a better job of maintaining their charge times and their run times. The Astro, the Braun, those things, great when they were new. I was very happy, and then it just progressively got worse. And I'm not somebody that wants to buy lights all the time. So this thing ultimately just needs to be used. I need to get some seat time, some real world scenarios with it. Will I hate the plastic feel? Will I drop it like my dealer said and crack it and it's not warranted? Will I plug it in to charge it after this video and the thing just will not turn the charge icon off and it drains the battery and I have to swap it out? I don't know any of that. Something I should have asked him. I don't know if this is like watertight, liquid proof. If we had ballast just running down this thing, is it going to seep under the cover, or does the cover seal it off and it would just puddle and coalesce and fall out? Some of you probably know. If you're a Pro Stick user, or maybe someone you know, or co-worker type of a thing has the Pro Sticks or uses Pro Sticks, if they have that happen, I'm sure they're going to tell you. If the brake cleaner eats this up and they hate it and they take it off and say screw that thing, or if they're like, man, this is the best thing ever, I've replaced this cover like 4 times, the actual light and lens itself is mint because of that protection, tell me, is this the OtterBox for work lights? I don't know. I just have to get seat time. So if you want like a quick recap of the lights from me, puck lights, number 1. This would be my number 2, the Icon. The number 3 would be the Braun, and the number 4 would be the Astro. That's an older Astro. There's brighter ones, there's newer ones. Again, any of these, when they're new, I'm good with them. As they age, they don't age that well. Will the Mac be the same? Will the Mac hold up, maintain a quick charge, maintain, a run time? We've got to use it. So it's unboxed now. I can do that. Like I said, I basically got like 6 days left with this guy to kind of demo it out, and we'll see if I keep it or send it back. I'll try to update you in the next one. Didn't think this video was going to be this long, but it is what it is. Again, try to provide the information, the contrast, the comparisons, my personal experience, solicit your input. Again, some of you might have had every work light imaginable, and you're like, hey, Matco's junk, Snap-on's great, but really expensive. Mac, if you get it on sale, it's the way to go. It might be that lens cover's the greatest thing in the world. It might be, it's kind of a gimmick, doesn't really work, causes problems. Tell people that is your time, pun intended, to shine. Yeah, that's right. That's why you stick around to the end, you know it's going to be good. But, speaking of shine, I wish this was like a heat stick and I could warm my feet up right now. But I think I'm going to call it good here. 99 bucks for this thing, $60 off. I feel like that's legitimately a good deal. It's a better value that we got, passing up on that 500 lumen. If I like this, I will seriously consider the others when they're on sale. I don't know that I'm going to like this enough to be like, yes, please take my money, full price. But if they put that little dinky one on and I've loved this thing, I'll be like, you know what? There's times that this is cumbersome. It's too freaking big. I wish I had the smaller iteration. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. I will tell you my one wish for this, even if it's not this light, if it was a similar work light, if I just had the rotation, right? There's many times where I have this secured somewhere and I just want to be able to rotate it. I know that's dumb because you're going to say like, well, you can just, pull it off and do that. Everyone has their preferences. That's one of mine. All right. But yeah, your thoughts and opinions always appreciated. With that said, I am literally bricking my feet out here into ice. I'm going to get inside, work out, shower, go to bed, have another 12-hour day. It's a Friday, and I just have the feeling I'm going to get stuck there. So, this will be coming with me. I could see it in the light. Again, this really shows how pale that is. Again, in the flyer, that looked all darker, black, right? Hopefully that thing's nice. I should have had it on this whole time, I guess. But, precision torques, are they staying? Are they going? I'm covered in orange and green now. I'll just leave it at that. And like I said, they are slowly growing on me. I did ship out that 11/16, kind of like I did a 10 mil Stahlvilla. I don't know if it's like a one-off deal, who knows. But other than that, they've been good. It's just kind of weird when you first use them, when you're used to like a standard deal. But like I said, there's a couple times I'm like, ooh, let me grab the precision torque because of that offset. Just that little extra deep, right? Kind of makes a difference. But yeah, anything you want to talk about, feel free. This Pro Stick has been a rock star coming out uncharged, so I'm sure we shorten the service life of the battery by quite a span, but it is what it is. Pretty sure I'm going to keep this guy, but it does have the weekend to disappoint me, and truthfully, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday will dictate the fate of does the light stay or does the light go. And like I said, next time I'll let you know. And I will tell you the next one's going to be pretty cool. I've got the box sitting right over here. I think you're going to like seeing that. But I'm out of time, literally, and I'm frozen. So, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Even in the dark light, that like acid copper color. I kind of wish that was more of like a Hemi orange, Anyway, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. Again, don't ask much. It's free. But if we could just get to the 10K mark, I can release all of those Snap-on videos and not have to worry. Like, I'm going to make a video next time I do a Mac haul, which I've got the stuff for, and I have Snap-on equivalents that I'm not going to show because I don't know when I'm going to get there. So, yeah, it's just, like I said, kind of created a bit of a bottleneck there. But speaking of bottlenecks, the more I have this thing on, the more I'm kind of like feeling around and getting used to it. We'll see what we think. I do one complaint I've come across now. I sort of wish the power button was just like half a thumb up. You always hear me complain about handles on 3/8 drive and quarter drive ratchets. I wish the button was just like half of an inch higher. I think that would be a really good placement for it, but it's not terrible where it is. It makes sense. I think it's going to fit more hands there. But yeah, this thing's kind of growing on me, but again, the weekend will determine its fate. But right now it's unique. It offers me some stuff I haven't had before, and that is exciting. So once again, thanks for watching. If you jump your charger across the creek, ring the bell and pick up your Mac Pro Stick, light up a pathway, and find the CB antenna that came off after you crash landed. YouTube just might notify you. We got new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, 9 a.m. Texas time. With that, thanks so much for watching, and I do hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop. Oh, it's caller number 9 bonus time. I was sitting here and I was playing around with this instead of going in like I said I would. And I was like, you know what, dadgum, we did not showcase the magnet on the bottom. So what I'm going to do, I grabbed this little guy and I was thinking, wow, that's an impressive magnet. If you recall, I said I always knock the Astro off. This is quite the upgrade. What I was picking up with the sleeve, kind of didn't even hear that, but it does pick it up nicely. Listen closely. Yeah, there's some force there. So they don't provide specs. Here's our little hex key from earlier. Again, top. And then just if you want to go in and stab something or lazily pick it up off the ground, you know, if it's not like obscured by anything, you just don't want to bend over, that is a legit hold. So, real test here, we could not pick up these protos. Well, we kind of could drag them, right? Let's give it some credit. Actually, you know what? If I hold that, yaha, sort of, you know, not quite what you'd want. Let me come down here so I don't have to deal with magnetic tips on that thing. That should tell you what you need to know. Okay, that's impressive. What's something heavy sitting around here? I don't know if, once again, kind of does it right, but this does it with authority and ease. That's a good chunk of steel right there. I don't know if this will work or not. It's sort of, well, it actually picks that up. But will this go through the case? Yep. Let's see here. Whack that, who cares? This will be a real test. I don't know what this weighs, but I've got a body dolly sitting here. This, I think we can drag it a little. Not much. What will this do? Let's actually set this up here. I'll just come in on the side. Okay, that is impressive. That's very impressive. I also have this. I'll just take the rod bender apart. I'm pretty sure this is a little heavier. Case in point, that's not really going to do anything aside from say hi. I don't know if this is going to work. I think it'll move it, but I don't know if it'll stay. Okay, yeah. This is officially the strongest magnetic base I have on a work light, which makes it that much cooler. It picked up a body dolly. It picked up a rod bending handle. I mean, that's a solid chunk of steel there. I've got a lug wrench over here, but I don't think it would fit in the camera. So... yeah, I am very glad that I thought of that, because that is pretty freaking cool. So, does suck not having a hook, but it's unique this way. We'll make do. I also did look, it's going to be USB standard, USB-A, and then the little mini DC, it does again include the wall pack, so that's cool. I always hate it when you don't get that. They just assume you have it. You probably do, but it's nice to have it, you know, just in case. So, yeah, this thing for $99, that magnet, the sleeve, the length, and the fact it's brighter, would I have rather paid $39? Yes. $49? Yeah. This is pretty steep. This is very expensive in my opinion for a light, even despite all of that. Compared to other lights that are similar, it's, you know, not bad. But, as somebody who's been pretty happy with the Harbor Freight stuff, we'll have to see how this goes. But this thing does have some pretty cool features. And like I said, we'll just have to play around. So, long video, why not make it longer? At least had some cool action. And you got to admit, like, I mean, this thing is not light. Neither is that. I've had this thing I think maybe it wasn't even Harbor Freight. It's actually been pretty good for certain things, but as you can see, it's been used a lot. But it's heavy, and for a work light to pick that up, very impressive. That said, thanks again. I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop.